A very good morning. This is Kusile Breakfast Show. Sayivele ishayile insimbi yesithupha namhla kushogo nakuqala kwehlelo lefulo mhla. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Lungelele Magagula. We are on the 22nd day of January 2025. Nemguni lana. Shumnakbili, my co-host. How are you this morning?
Siyavuka Thombe singevanini ngoba siyabuka nje tindzaba letiphuma ko event esukwini layitolo. We heard some insights from Invuneka Commerce Industry and Trade hlelweni lekuthuthukisa luhlangothi lwamabhizinisi lapha eveni. These are some of the areas that we are really interested in, particularly because kune focus kuma MSME developments lekhona. Ngijabule kakhulu Invunana iveta ukuthi kune potential le untapped lapha lengasithuthukisa kakhulu in terms of the wealth control by MSME. Uthinza ukuthi ke kwanyalo it's about 20%, kanti ke emavela sathuthukile it's around 60% and above, and so that is going to be their focus now, that MSME development. And he also touched on some of the key areas lasebawendile kuthuthukisa luhlangothi lokacommerce. So some of those areas tinzabele stawuti ixoxa lapha eluhlelweni, because we are seeing a remarkable opportunity for Eswatini's creative industry ekuthenini bakhona nabo kushayina ku global stage. Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority lesiyathi nge-APA has officially opened applications for local businesses to exhibit their goods at the Designed Dictionary Expo 2025 in Taipei, Taiwan. It's an initiative that aims to expand export opportunities, foster global partnerships, as well as to elevate Eswatini's creative enterprises to new heights. But how does this align with APA's broader goals for 2025? Ngomaphi ama-characteristics lesingathi akhona labawafunako in export-ready traders, and how can businesses unfamiliar with the Asian market tailor their offerings for success? Lomhla ekuseni sitawuxoxisana naThandeka Dlamini, ungumphathi ka-external trade promotion ka-APA. Kuthola nje ama-answers in some of these important questions.
Yeah, looking forward to that interview na Thandeka. Kanti nje letinye letitsematheni kulamalanga sifiso ngendzaba yokuvula kwetikolo badala baphishanekile bathenga ama-school uniforms, babhadala school fees, benda lokho nalokho, and labanye basafuna indzawo lapha etikoleni because apparently letinye itikolo tigcwele. So kune nje ukuphithitela kwentekako kulamalanga, and of course isexwayiso nje lesakhokhwa ngiwo emaphoyisa ukuthi batali kumele ukuthi baqaphele kuletikhathi leti njengoba kunabolandela labaningi labatawugadza ukuthi baba thathela imali tabo emabhange, labanye batawucela ukuthi hayi maka ngubambele line ngubhadalele esikolweni. Waxwayisa ukuthi ke nangabe khona alternative, especially ye banking app ngasebenzisa wena ukuthi ubhadale school fees sakho khona la icingweni lakho, ngabe sori yobamba line. So kuningi nje phithithelelo kwenteka kulamalanga.
There's also the concerns around psychosocial support. Yabantwana bahlangabetana netinto letiningi, particularly since indzaba yabokhewane ukuthi it must be overwhelming. It's literally your first day away from home. Makushiya lapha station, you are overwhelmed by all these other kids here. And ubona umntalo wakho agibela imoto akushiya. Noma loyo, there's always an under-addressed psychosocial support conversation there, as well as labo lasebaxoxothele lasebakhona etikolweni up to ubo high school, kuna support labayidingako mentally and otherwise. And we are seeing psychologists doing everything that they can. We are seeing the Ministry of Health yabathuba psychologists ukuthi basensitize emaswati batali kulolo hlangothi lolo. So we do hope ukuthi these numbers lasabane kuba endemic in our society regarding psychosocial support.
Especially school bullying so ngiyo nje indzaba abadala kumele ukuthi bayiqaphele. Notice your child, umnake ukuthi nakabuya esikolweni ujabulile yini, umbuto ukuthi belinjani ilanga lakhe, umkhulumise nje atokutshela ukuthi kwentekani esikolweni. Timpawu kwelete kumele ukuthi sitibone sibadali, especially labo nje labasayo cala tikolo letinsha, especially form 1 or grade 1, labo ke basengodini kakhulu ukuthi bangaba bullied. So timvo leti badala kumele ukuthi batinake kakhulu kulawa malanga lawo. But okay, stay tuned for today's Kusile Breakfast Show. Let's take a look at leading newspaper headlines. All right, Skalanya Times of Eswatini, Letamba Mbili, help restore joy in this bundle of triplets. Vuisile Mtimkulu is a 21-year-old unemployed mother of triplets from Nkambeni is seeking public assistance to raise her children. In other news, SNATS seeks demands ahead of schools opening, says government should hire 4,000 teachers, deliver enough food, among others. They also advise against opening until demands are met, otherwise it will be for fun. In other news, good news for farmers. Ngikusho kwa-NMC kanti nasibuka letinye Trump season 2 tough times ahead for Eswatini, and St. Mark's head teacher transfer has been reversed.
We look at the leading sports headlines from the Times of Eswatini. The big story there: amid contractual showdown, Bird star rejects lucrative offer. Mabilisa snubs in Singizini over Forces team. Defender takes Swallows to player status committee. On another one, MOU launches the special one wine. That is Jose Mourinho, who has launched his wine, aptly called the special one. On another one, massive Mayaluga clash in Babane. The eagerly anticipated last 16 Ngwenyama Cup fixture is out, and the much discussed Forces derby will be at Mayaluga Stadium. Wesleyans squash NFD registration reports. The story speaks to Manzini Wanderers chairman Jabulani Dlamini, who has vehemently denied reports suggesting the team are considering registering in the MTN National First Division.
All right, so moving on to the Eswatini Observer, leading story, MSME report reveals that 20% of population controls nation's wealth. It also reveals unemployment is a pressing issue at 49.2%. Recommends training programs tailored for women-owned SMEs. An economist says each Liswati should be earning about 6,000 emalangeni. In other news, government-Google agreement partnership to fuel economic growth, and this is according to Business Eswatini CEO.
It is water down the drain as Wanderers season is over. Team does not have club licensing certificate. Manzini Wanderers' hopes of playing in the league this season have suffered a setback. I beg your pardon. On another one, Security Force derby at Mayaluga Stadium this weekend. The Security Forces derby match between defending champions Green Mamba, the Royal Leopard in the Ingwenyama Cup last 16, is going to be played at Mayaluga Stadium on Saturday this coming weekend. I'm the owner of Highlanders. Those are sentiments shared by Ali Khomongwe. The back and forth at Capital City Giants, Babane Highlanders, has not moved the managing director, Chief Ali Khomongwe, an inch.
Moving on to the Eswatini Daily News, leading story, CBE's JSC 4 billion Emalangeni listing gets international acclaim. You can read that story on page 2. And in other news, Eswatini, Algeria explore opportunities for both economies. And WHO is in distress as US announces intent to withdraw.
Rubber tipped for bull, hot seat. Former player and club managing director Begi Rabas Milana is tipped to replace erstwhile South African businessman Ali Khomongwe at Mbabane Highlanders. Aglogunye Zidonga makes gallant move, and Mbappe says mental shift helped change situation.
And that's it for newspaper headlines. 9 minutes after 6, we'll go for an ad break. Sibuyele netindzaba teSiswati.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokhu sivile sive sitikhulume
Elishumi imizuzu ibumbene insimbi yesithupha lomhla ekuseni makuthi hlelo nasehlelweni Kusile breakfast show uhlelo lwangalesithathu sisaqhubeka nalo lihlelo sitawubuka nathi indzaba tesiswati. Sekunelibandla letindvuna tembuso lelibuka ukuthi emabhizinisi akuleli angesekeleka kanjani ukuthi ate ukhona ukuthi akhulise kangcono umnotfo kwakheke emathuba emisebenzi. Lokhu kuvetwe indvuna yelitiko letemabhizinisi netsengiselana umhlonishwa amanqoba khumalo uma ichaza ngaletinye tetinhlelo lelitiko ke lelitendako ukuthi umnotfo wakuleli ukhule kulomnyaka.
The investment conference. Le investment conference yethu lesitawuyenda itaba nga-April makacala konje April lapho khona sitawuthola tinkampani letinkulu tisho imisebenzi lemikhulu letitawuyenda eveni. Kunelibandla ke litiko laka-commerce lesisebenta nalo le-cabinet lelinendvuna yetemafa, indvuna yetekulima, indvuna yaka-ICT, indvuna yetemcebo waphasi, nendvuna yekuhlela umnotfo, nendvuna yetangaphandle lapho khona sibuka lama-investors ukuthi bobani lesingabe sesiyabakhutsata siphinde sibaside kuze ukuthi kule minyaka lelandzelako lemithathu lemine leyo misebenzi leyo ibonakale iphatheka esiveni. Siyabe sesisike ngale investment seminar or conference seyamenyetelwa ke leyo msebenzi siyethemba ukuthi siyawuthola imisebenzi mhlambe ama-investments lengcako ku-30 billion emalangeni leyawudala imisebenzi nayo lengcako ku-5,000 seyiphelele kuto tonke leto tinkampani. Loko ke sitawuphindze sikumadanise ne-business seminar futhi abosomabhizinisi labancane lapho khona sengithume setco ukuthi akayisebente indzaba yokuthi kube ne-business seminar yabosomabhizinisi labancane. Nakhona sibuke emathuba mhlambe bo-Citizens Economic Empowerment Council nako konke kwekuthi sendanjani lokuthi lamathuba ukuthi atholakale bosomabhizinisi labancane bakhona ukuthola imali bakhone kutsengisela hulumende nama-parastatals nabosomabhizinisi labakhulu.
Hulumende welive laseswatini utfokotile kwemukela Mohamed Meziane lothumelwe ngumengameli welive le-Algeria. Meziane bekakuleli ke kusukela mhla tingemashumi kuya kumhla tingemashumi kulesetulu. Kanzi ke wetfule umlayeto lobuya kumengameli welive le-Algeria umhlonishwa Abdelmajid Tebboune kumhlonishwa ndvunankulu Russell Dlamini lobekamelele silo inkosi Mswati ehotela le-Royal Villas ezulwini. Kulomlayeto mengameli welive le-Algeria unikete ingwenyama siciniseko sekwekuthi utimisele kucinisa budlelwane balamave lamabili. Abanye labe bakhona kulomhlangano bafaka ekhatsi indvuna yetangephandle Pholile Shakhantu lonxusele live le-Algeria kuleli kanye naletinye ke ti-70 tahulumende. Budlelwane emkhatsini kwelive le-Algeria kanye neleswatini bacala ngeminyaka wa-1994 kanzi ke lamave lamabili abambisene etinhlangothini letifaka ekhatsi temfundvo, tekutsengiselana, tekulima, temphilo kanye nakutekuvakasha. Umphathi wenkampani yahulumende lethenga iphindze ithengise ummbila i-NMC Mavela Vilane sawumemetele ukuthi ihulumende kangeke asabahlangabeta abalimi eluhlelweni lwetigulumba lweminyaka wa-2024-2025. Vilana uthi le nkampani seyibhatalele ama-awa langetulu kwalawo uhulumende bekahlele ukuthi utawabhatalela. Vilane bekakhuluma ngesikhathi yetfula ama-awa uhulumende lesawabhatele ngephansi kweluhlelo lokuhlangabeta abalimi.
Le nkampani i-National Maize Corporation ithi-ke kungumanje seyilimele balime ma-awa langetulu kwa-58,000 lokwenta ukuthi-ke le nkampani ikhone kusita sive ngelizinga leliku-95%. Umphathi wale nkampani Mavela Vilane uthi-ke uhulumende sewutikhandze yabhadala ngalokungetulu kwaloko bekakuhlelile.
Lokhu sikhuluma nje nani namuhla balimi lababhadele bekubhekeke ukuthi babe ngulo 55,555 ema-tractor hours kodwa balimi bambhadalile 58,862 wema-tractor hours as of kuvalwa kwemabhange noma kuvalwa kwema-pay points idolo ngoba sibhadala Eswatini Bank, sibhadale nangamomo. Lokhu-ke kukhomba-ke ukuthi lama-hour sekecile ngalangu 3,306 kule budget ya 10 million, which is equivalent to 595,080 emalangeni imali lesekufanele NMC abuke ngenyalo sota ithathaphi ukuze angetelela lamanye ema-hour lasabhadalekile langetulu ngoba ete sayijikisa imali ebayilini. So-ke kulama-hour lengitsite abhadelwe langu-58,862 langu-56,340. Wow, sesiwaservisile lokusho ukuthi sesibalimele lababhadele, which is 95% delivery efficiency. Balimi sekubhekeke ukuthi kenyalo lo 508 angithi uhulumende bekabhadalela umlimi bekabhadala 400, umlimi afake 180. Umlimi kenyalo kusukela kusasa sotambhadala wonke lo 580 wesikhuluma, hayi ukuthi kuvalwa kusetshenziswa noma ukubhadalela tikhuluma bhasi sota ibhadala in full.
Lolu hlelo lokuhlangabeza abalimi lwasungulwa nguhulumende ngenhloso yokuthi balimi bakhone ukukhicita umbila lowanele longanga 140 metric tons ngeminyaka. Etindzabeni kubika Sondomlangeni ngekumathapha.
Ngakulokunye umphathi walenkampani Mavelavilana uthi umbila lokhona etingungwini telive akawukho ngephansi kwa 4,000 metric tons kumanje. Vilana uthi kungenteka live lingakhona ukukhicita umbila lolunani lelibhekekile ngesizathu sesimo selitulu kulomnyaka wa 2025. Vilana bekakhuluma uma kachaza ngesimo sembila lokhona etingungwini tabo.
So what you see behind us here are trading silos, are NMC, with a capacity, a combined total capacity of around 23,500 metric tons. I cannot be certain as I talk to you now with how much do we have in our silos, but we have roughly a buffer stock, a buffer level here to at any given point in time, finally even at less than 4,000 metric tons in our silos. But those are trading silos, commercial business silos, not national reserves. So with regards to whether or not we will be able to produce enough to feed ourselves this current season, the answer is a straight no. Why so? Because last year we produced around 74,400 metric tons of maize. I think last year there was Bulala, kwaba a heat wave that came between January and February. This year, two devastating effects. A heat wave in November, severe wanumbila turned white, literally white, mine included. And then the storm now in January. So projections, actually we might be less than what we produced last year, but not yet certain because a thorough visit to the entire country is being undertaken by our extension services, but the big producers, the commercial maize farmers, they was Tatsawen, that's the pride ngabo. Like bonzevana na bengitsite ngikhona last week lapho bona umbila wabo muhle kakhulu. You see, because ke bona balima on time, ngizawutaba tineti imvula naturally kusengakabafikeli lokhu but kusengafika futhi.
Utemidlalo indvuna yetemidlalo umhlonishwa Bonganzima sewudumise balandzeli bemidlalo welibhola letinyawo ngendlela labobonakala abasekela umchudzelwano weNgwenyama Cup leseyifike esigabeni se-last 16. Indvuna seyikhuthatane balandzeli belicembu leManzini Wanderers ukuthi baphelele etinkhundleni noma licembu labo lingekho kulendzebe njengoba ibhola iyabakhumbula kulamalanga. Indvuna beyikhuluma nalomsakato kaManzini.
Ngiyabonga mfana weNgwenyama, kungaba kucala nje kuphakamisa sibonge kakhulu kuyiNgwenyama kuhlanganisa temidlalo nemasiko. Bese siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi sive siyayisupporta iNgwenyama Cup. Lemidlalo lena ke imcoka silitiko letemidlalo nemasiko siyajabula kakhulu nasibona abantu basekela lokho ngoba imidlalo ngila khona abantu bathola ku relaxa bakhona ukuthi bethe nema families abo bachithe isikhathi kube khona nekuthi bavimbele labanye lokungabe bebaye kuyawuganga bala bajabulile batojabula nathi kule midlalo. Siyabona ke ukuthi likusasa letemidlalo liyakhula kahle kakhulu na ngeNgwenyama Cup siyayibonga kakhulu kuyiNgwenyama. Kungaba nje kwekusho ukuthi kulaba ku management yebhola yethu asebasizame kufaka emandla basilungisele etemidlalo ngoba sive siyathanza kubuya la. Ngendluleke ngoba sengidawuba specific ngimeme netihlwele tayo eManzini Wanderers ukuthi atibuye ebholeni tito supporta iNgwenyama Cup noma ngabe i-team yakhona i-PLE ayidlali namuhla noma ke kule tournament kodwa atibuye tobukela iNgwenyama Cup ngoba siyabonakala sikhala sabo sikhulu kakhulu. Nasibuka nje kutete mnotho sibuka nakuto tete midlalo siyayisijabule nasiyibona la eManzini Wanderers sikhona.
Mengameli wenhlangano yemidlalo we-Taekwondo Zakhele Dlamini uthi live la kaNgwane lisemathubeni lamahle ukudlalisa imidlalo ye-Afrika lekutaba-ke ngema-championship kulomnyaka losedulu. Dlamini uthi le midlalo iphindze inike emave imvume ukuthi akhone ukungenela imidlalo yema-Olympics lokubhekeke ukuthi abanjelwe edolobheni le-Los Angeles even lasemelika eminyakeni wa-2028.
This African Taekwondo Union usinikisa yekuthi kufuna si-host ema-games because he wants to improve le region yala. Besibamba umhlangano nje last week wekuthi kufuneka live litawuhosta so that they can check ukuthi sitawukhona ukuhosta lama-games abo G1 na G2. That is lama-games lasikoresha ema-points ema-Olympics. So nyalo ke sisabukusana kunemafomu nje leswagcwalisako online lasho ukuthi vele we are capable to host. Cishe iSwaziland ngiyona ke inayo leli chaza lokuthi ingakhona lokuthi ihost because we've been hosting in next generation successfully. So bonke babuke ngala kithi ukuthi we can be in that position. After ufuna usupport in that view ukuthi ato improve le region. Kunalamanye ama-games ma-junior championships lataba Nigeria anema-cadets eLagos. Kunamanye lase-Rwanda kufuna ukuthi phinde siwa-attende ma-juniors nema-seniors African Taekwondo Championships, of which these games are rated kulabo G1 abo G2 where you accumulate some points for Olympic qualifiers.
Asitaphetha kanjalo nizobate Eswati sibahlole emakethe ngekubuka simo selitulo sitawubuya sichubeke nehlelo masinyane.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Welcome back. It's 25 minutes after 6. Kumanje sandlalela iclip yamengameli Donald Trump after kubekwa kwakhe ngalokusemthethweni is the 47th president of the United States. Lokunyekela kukhulumile Donald Trump ukuthi utawubuyisela emasotsha la dismisswa emsebentini way back in 2020 ngamasotsha ke lawa la ngavumanga ukuthi avaccinatelwe iCovid-19. Vetile Donald Trump ukuthi utawubuyisela emsebentini aphindze ababhadalwe ne-back pay. Sesimlalele ukuthi ukhuluma wathini.
Thank you very, very much. Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens. The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before. I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country, sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly. and other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we're watching fires still tragically burn. From weeks ago, without even a token of defense, they're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. But we can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world. And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly. My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over. Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history, and I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is why each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural. And very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states. And the popular vote, we won by millions of people. To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true. Thank you. Thank you. National unity is now returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country. We will not forget our Constitution, and we will not forget our God. Can't do that. Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense. First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border. All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy. I will end the practice of catch and release. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country. Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities. As Commander-in-Chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do. We will do it at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Next, I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices. The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill. America will be a manufacturing nation once again, And we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have, the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. We're going to use it. We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again, right to the top, and export American energy all over the world. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers. In other words, you'll be able to buy the car of your choice. We will build automobiles in America again at a rate that nobody could have dreamt possible just a few years ago. And thank you to the auto workers of our nation for your inspiring vote of confidence. We did tremendously with their vote. I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. For this purpose, we are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our treasury, coming from foreign sources. The American dream will soon be back and thriving like never before to restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government. My administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency. After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents, something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities. This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay.
That's the U.S. President Donald Trump. He says God saved him from the assassination attempt so that he can make America great again. Stay tuned for part 2 when we return after the break.
Indvodza yeSwati ithatha isinqumo onke malanga kude tonke isinqumo sinyele singako sicame ulesingasiso nje sanamhla kuphela kepha sikulungiselela nelekusasa lakho ngekonta iSmart Card inciphise emathuba ekuthola iHIV nga-60% ngaphinze nganciphisa emathuba ekuthola bogcunsula akusiko njengami kuphela naloyo lengithandana nayo uvikelekile kumdlavuza womlomo wesibeletho njengemuntu wesilisa nginensayaya ekuvikela loyo lengemthandzayo.
Thatha isinqumo lesihlakaniphile lamuhla. Vakashela umtholampilo loseduze nawe noma ushayele inombolo yamahhala 2030 uhambe uyosoka. Soka nawe nomlayeto ulethelwa litiko letempilo.
Welcome back. Let's listen to the rest of Donald Trump's inauguration speech.
And I will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty. It's going to end immediately. Our armed forces will be freed to focus on their sole mission, defeating America's enemies. Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families. Thank you. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe and admiration of the entire world. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs. President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent. He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal. which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after the United States. The United States, I mean, think of this, spent more money than ever spent on a project before and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back. Above all, my message to Americans today is that it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization. So as we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights of victory and success. We will not be deterred. Together we will end the chronic disease epidemic and keep our children safe, healthy, and disease-free. The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars. Ambition is the lifeblood of a great nation, and right now our nation is more ambitious than any other. There's no nation like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts. The call of the next great adventure resounds from within our souls. Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth. No one comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny, lifted billions from poverty, harnessed electricity, split the atom, launched mankind into the heavens, and put the universe of human knowledge into the palm of the human hand. If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken. I stand before you now as proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best. From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride. Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America, promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We are going to win like never before.
All right, so that was the 47th President, Donald Trump of the U.S., Donald Trump during his inauguration that took place on Monday at the Capitol. For now, let's head straight to today's traffic report. Welcome back. 4 minutes before 7, sifuna simo semgwaqo lo mhla ekseni na Sergeant Nozipho Maseko. Asivusele Nozipho, kameka kanjani lo mhla ekseni?
Anguvusele Thombeni, ngiphinde ngivusele naye umbukeli wemsakazo Iswazi TV. Imigwaqo sesihlolile even Eswatini lesikuthola nje ukuthi nasihamba sehla sibheka lapha kalobamba emgwaqweni efulosuka khona esitsheni ubheke khona emlilwane kuleli block hole ekuthiwa ngomhlambanyathi bridge kune truck lefelela khathi emgwaqweni. Imoto ke letincane tiyakhona kuncenga laceleni kanti letinkulu adikhoni. Taba ke ukuthi kususwe yona le truck setulu kakhulu, siyasithembisa nje sive ukuthi itabe isukile kude madodane. Nasichubeka sihlola yona imigwaqo yethu lapha kamanzini edolobheni kulelo kukhulu tiba nemigwaqo adisebenzi eRemand Center nase Central emarobotini. Ucela nje bashayeli ukuthi asebenzise phela umthetho we-4-way rule ukuthi lofike kuqala kuhamba yena kuqala ukuze ukuthi sivikele ukuthi kube nesiminyaminya noma sekuthi imoto setiyashayisana. Nasichubeka sihlola yona imigwaqo yethu sisuka emgwaqweni losuka emhlaleni ubheke khona enhlangano lapha endasi eSjokotho Junction kunama-potholes lamanzi. Bashayeli bayexwayisa ukuthi abanciphise litubane lapho bashayele kahle nabafika kulendzawo. Nasichubeka futhi sibheke khona endasi lapha emgwaqweni wethu losuka khona emkhondlo ubheke khona kalavundlamandi. Umgwaqo wethu mubi kakhulu emva kokuthi phela udamage ngitoti imvula letibe khona. Sixwayisa nje bashayeli ukuthi sicela ukuthi babeketelelane baphinde bashayele ngekucophelela lokukhulu. Nasehla sibheka khona endasi enhlangano lapha endasi nawusuka khona eprison ubheke khona kaMjuda lapha eMuslim Church umgwaqo udamagekile nakhona. Ucela nje bashayele kahle bashayele ngekucophelela banciphise litubane labo. Lokunye lokukhona futhi ukuthi eposini tiba nemigwaqo adisebenzi nakhona sicela kuhloniphana lofike kuqala hambe kuqala. Asize sichubeka lapha embangweni ami-barracks nawubheke khona e-single tree kunelidamu lelididlikile sivele siya khona eMgwenya esigodini ekuthiwa kuseMgwenya. Siyacela ukuthi singasawusebenzise lo mgwaqo lohamba khona kuleli damu. Labafuna kuya khona noma labafuna kuphuma babheke khona enhlangano abahambe bayosiphumela khona lapha emgwaqweni wase-single tree noma e-full gospel. Nasichubeka ke nako kuhlola yena imigwaqo yethu umgwaqo wethu lobheka khona eBig Bend nawusuka khona kulukhula uthi eBig Bend umgwaqo wethu sesimeni lesikabi nakhona kwexwayisa nje bashayele ngekucophelela lokukhulu tingako lesinato namuhla.
Sibonga kakhulu Maseko kusiniketala yombiko lomhla ekseni sasalikhefu sibene indzaba desingisi.
Ujala masoda amahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokhu
Sifile sive sithi khulumeni.
Welcome back. This is the news at 7. A task team of cabinet ministers have been selected to look into the available opportunities that could ensure businesses grow, leading to economic growth and employment opportunities. This was shared by the Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade, Honorable Manqaba Khumalo, when detailing some of the plans the ministry will prioritize for economic growth this year.
What we are working on is a setting up of a task team of cabinet that comprises of myself, the Minister for Finance, the Minister for Economic Planning, the Minister for Natural Resources, the Minister for ICT, the Minister for Agriculture, and the Minister for Foreign Affairs. This team of ministers has already started meeting with the view of engaging with businesses, both private and state-owned businesses that have mega projects, as we call them, that will drive, significant economic growth in the country. And we are interrogating each and every one of those projects with the view of ascertaining, number one, their probability of success, number two, what government needs to do to ensure that, they are enabled to succeed. So we already had 4 sessions with, over 30 businesses for now. What that will do is it will culminate in April into what we call a business conference, rather an investment conference. And I'm glad to announce that we will have one of the biggest investment conferences that we've ever had in the country. We are hoping that the host of this conference will be our head of state and our prime minister. And it is in that conference that a lot of these big players in the economy, both existing currently, who might be having expansion plans, and some of them coming into the country for the first time, will actually make their commitments known to the nation by way of a pledge. And in that particular session, we are targeting investments that will be upwards of 30 billion emalangeni.
The Kingdom of Eswatini was honored to welcome His Excellency Mohammed Meziane, Special Envoy of His Excellency Abdelmajid Tebboune, President of the Republic of Algeria, for a 2-day official visit from 20th to 21st January 2025. His Excellency Meziane delivered a special message from President Tebboune to His Majesty King Mswati III, reaffirming the strong and enduring bonds of friendship and cooperation between the two nations. On behalf of His Majesty, His Excellency Meziane was officially received by the Right Honourable Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Russell Dlamini, at the Royal Villas in Ezulwini. Also present were the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Honourable Polile Shakantu, and the Ambassador of the Republic of Algeria to Eswatini, His Excellency Rida Nebayas, who successfully presented his credentials to the Kingdom last year. One senior government officials from both sides participated in the discussions, underscoring the importance of this high-level engagement. Diplomatic relations between Algeria and Eswatini, established in 1994, have been built on shared values of peace, development, and African unity. This visit highlighted the nation's commitment to fostering stronger bilateral ties and exploring opportunities for collaboration in the following areas: trade and investment, enhancing trade flows and fostering investments in agriculture, energy and manufacturing to benefit both economies. Education and training, expanding Algeria's scholarship programs and technical training opportunities for Eswatini students to include vocational and specialized fields. Agriculture and food security, collaborating on sustainable agricultural practices, leveraging Algeria's expertise in desert farming to enhance food security in Eswatini. Health cooperation, strengthening healthcare systems through joint initiatives, training medical personnel, and sharing expertise in public health. Tourism and culture, promoting cultural exchange programs and joint initiatives to develop the tourism industries of both nations. The visit reaffirmed both nations' dedication to fostering partnerships that promote African unity, peace, and prosperity. The National Maize Corporation CEO, Mavela Vilane, has announced that farmers will now have to access the tractor hire service at full cost. Vilane explained that government subsidized hours with 10 million malangeni and have exceeded expectations with an overrun of over 500,000 malangeni for the year 2024-2025.
The National Maize Corporation informs farmers that government tractor hire program has concluded for the current season as the full budget has been fully utilized. The NMC CEO Mavela Vilane says that government budgeted 10 million emalangeni for the program, which is equivalent to over 55,000 tractor hours.
Nokusikhuluma nje nani namuhla balimi lababhadele bekubhekeke ukuthi babe ngilo 55,555 ema-tractor hours kodwa balimi bambhadalile 58,862 wema-tractor hours.
Vilane says as of Tuesday, a total of over 56,000 hours have been registered. Vilane says that farmers can still access tractor hire services at a normal cost, which is 580 emalangeni per tractor hour. Vilane also sympathized with farmers for all the challenges they faced this plowing season, including extreme weather conditions such as heat waves and storms. The government subsidy is meant to help farmers increase maize production to an extent that farmers produce 140,000 metric tons or more per year. Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni in Matapa.
The CEO of the National Maize Corporation, Mavela Vilane, says the country's national maize silos currently contain not less than 4,000 metric tons of maize. He says considering the extreme weather conditions farmers experienced this year, the country may struggle to produce the necessary quantity of maize.
So what you see behind us here are trading silos, are NMC, with a capacity, a combined total capacity of around 23,500 metric tons. I cannot be certain as I talk to you now with how much do we have in our silos, but we have roughly a buffer stock, a buffer level here to see at any given point in time, even at less than 4,000 metric tons.
Currently, we have a combined total capacity of around 23,500 metric tons in our commercial silos. While we can't be certain of the exact current stock, we know it is not less than 4,000 metric tons. These silos are for trading purposes, not for national reserve. Regarding whether we will meet the national target for self-sufficiency in food production this season, the answer is straightforward, no. Last year, we were able to produce 74,000 metric tons of maize, but we faced heat waves. This year, farmers have encountered two devastating challenges, heat waves and storms. Projections suggest that we may produce less than what we harvested last year. However, the final assessment is still pending as an official visit has yet to take place. It's worth noting, though, that major producers were less affected since they began planting on time.
And then the storm now in January. So projections, actually we might be less than what we produced last year.
The commander of the Umbutho Eswatini Defence Force, Mashigisane Fagute, has received a translated booklet that governs hostilities and aims to prevent atrocities that may occur during wars. Fagute says the international humanitarian law booklet will be presented to every soldier in the country. He received the booklet from Dr. Emmanuel Maposa of the International Committee of the Red Cross Pretoria Regional Delegation.
The Army Commander of the Umbutho Eswatini Defence Force, Mashigisane Fagute, has received the International Humanitarian Law booklet aimed at governing wars. Fagute says that this booklet will serve as an essential guide for the country's military personnel.
This law, its aim is to avoid atrocities that take place during war. It is a law that says that even at war, even in fighting, there are limitations to the soldier. So in our defense force, we are privileged to have a partner.
Dr. Emmanuel Maposa of the International Committee of the Red Cross Pretoria Regional Delegation presented the booklet to the Army Commander. Maposa says that the ICRC is dedicated to ensuring protection of individuals affected by armed conflicts.
As the ICRC, we're not there to replace what governments or armed forces are doing, but we are there to complement what they are doing. The main laws that govern armed conflicts are the Geneva Conventions of 1949. Under the Geneva Conventions, it is clearly stated that it is an obligation of states to disseminate the law of armed conflict as widely as possible. That will mean disseminating to members of armed forces, also disseminating to the civilian population at large.
The Army Commander says that equipping soldiers with such knowledge will foster professionalism, discipline, and respect for human rights. Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Nogwane.
The Eswatini Red Cross board members are currently participating in a training with the International Committee of Red Cross. The aim of this training, according to the president of Red Cross, Eswatini Bongani Masuku, is to capacitate themselves about laws during warfare.
President of Eswatini Red Cross Bongani Masuku says, due to the rise of protest in neighboring countries, they believe it is critical to invite the International Committee of the Red Cross to Eswatini.
Sitofundza ngalo mtsetfo lona bawubita nge-International Humanitarian Law, IHL. Kusho ukuthi nje lo mtsetfo uyasita kakhulu kwekutsi bonke labatsintsekako la kunemsindo khona bati ukuthi bahamba bagcinephi.
Masuku says the law helps organizations know the limit to which they can go when helping those affected during conflicts. He says the reason they wanted to learn more about this law is because there is fast track in protests in Africa and worldwide. So it is always wise to seek knowledge when it is peaceful. He says after the training, they will know their role in times of warfare. The regional legal advisor at the International Committee of the Red Cross, Sarah Mabeza, says it is crucial for Red Cross Eswatini to intensively learn about such laws for proper response in times of armed conflict.
So international humanitarian law is also known as the law of war or the law of armed conflict. It's the body of law that governs and regulates and limits behavior in warfare. And the main aim of international humanitarian law is really to ensure that we preserve an element of humanity in times of warfare. Now, international humanitarian law needs to be spread in times of peace. And that is why we are here. And that is why we are partnering with the Bapalali National Society to discuss.
This law was primarily derived from treaties outlined in the Geneva Convention of 1949. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Satabile Mamba, together with LinkedIn Gule in Mbabane.
Due to the lack of employment opportunities, the youth in the country is increasingly pursuing vocational education. While universities continue to produce graduates, a growing number of young people are exploring other avenues that equip them with practical skills, aligning with the policy of Ngwe to reduce unemployment while developing the nation's economy.
As the mad rush for high school admission goes on countrywide, young people are turning to vocational skills education to improve their livelihoods. At the National Handcraft Training Center in Eswatini, hopeful applicants await to be informed of the decision that could change their lives. NHTC Principal Makosonke Gama highlights their commitment to equipping the youth through a variety of vocational training courses.
Sende ma-interviews aka-electrical, kusasa senda yaka-computer na fine arts and ceramics, bese kuthi Thursday senda i-carpentry ne-metalwork, bese kuthi Friday sesenda i-sewing.
Gama says in an approach crucial for the sustainable development of the country, the aim is to empower young people with practical skills that enable them to create opportunities. He adds that though they run a skills-based community outreach initiative, there's a greater need for the establishment of vocational institutions in other parts of the country. Some young people say they are motivated to pursue skills training because they see it as a reliable pathway to economic empowerment.
Ngiqhamuka edwaleni ngibone ukuthi ngitofunza lana ngekuthi sesiphilisa ngawo lamakhono ayasida ngoba nemisebenzi kude.
They say this shift has been fueled by the realization that practical skills can open doors to self-employment, especially in a challenging job market. The government program of action outlines that in collaboration with other countries, government will require 10 million emalangeni to transform vocational institutions between 2026 to 2029. On the news, I am Natsile Sitole with Linton Gile, Kodek, Zulwini.
In international news, a devastating fire has killed at least 76 people as it tore through a 12-story hotel at a popular ski resort in Turkey's Karelu Mountains in the early hours of Tuesday. According to several media reports, some died while they were trying to escape the flames by jumping out of the windows.
238 guests were registered at this Turkish hotel in the Kartalkaya resort when a deadly blaze broke out in the early hours of Tuesday. Thought to have started in the restaurant kitchens, the fire quickly filled the building with smoke and people struggled to find the fire exits. Still visible in the wreckage are sheets knotted together where people tried to flee the building. Omar Sakrak witnessed the scene.
They were between a rock and a hard place. They'd burn if they didn't jump, but if they jumped, it'd be too high. We ran away so we wouldn't see them jump, so that is not etched in our memories. We saw a lot of things.
Some are known to have died from jumping out of windows. The fire reportedly spread fast, and accounts vary, but fire services are said to have taken as long as an hour to arrive.
There was nothing we could do. There were some extra beds on the first floor, so we threw them so that they would fall on soft ground if they jumped. There were also people on the higher floors, but there was nothing that we could do for them. We just watched. All we could do was cry.
The government has appointed 6 prosecutors to lead an investigation into the fire, and the hotel's owner was one of the 4 people initially detained for questioning. Meanwhile, a Turkish court issued a temporary blackout on media coverage of the blaze.
On the historic first day of his second term in office, President Donald Trump laid out his vision for a bolder and larger United States.
On this historic first day of his second term in office, President Donald Trump laid out his vision for a bolder and larger United States.
The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
Then he got to work, signing a stack of executive orders. He said they include a declaration of a national emergency at the southern border that would allow the deployment of troops and a national energy emergency that will allow more domestic extraction. He also declared that there are only 2 genders and said he would order that the Gulf of Mexico be renamed the Gulf of America. Historians say that Trump made history by using what is historically a unifying speech to portray a future that many Americans may disagree with.
It was less an inaugural speech and more a State of the Union. He just listed a series of bullet points of projects he wanted to undertake, from deporting immigrants to seizing back the Panama Canal.
Thousands of Trump supporters came to Washington from across the country because they say his policies speak to them.
Common sense, the bringing back of common sense out loud. So many people have, in my position, feel like we are the silent majority, and I think this is going to give us the opportunity to speak out loud and to be, and unafraid to speak the truth and to speak common sense.
Shortly after his inaugural, Trump spoke to a smaller group of supporters in the Capitol and reiterated claims that the 2020 election was totally rigged, a claim without proof. He also alluded to his plans to pardon some of those convicted over the violent events of January 6, 2021, when a mob of Trump supporters attempted to disrupt the certification of the election won by Joe Biden.
And I think this was a better speech than the one I made upstairs, okay? I think this was better, JD. I think this was much better.
Some of Trump's powerful supporters expressed their joy.
This is what victory feels like. Yeah!
CEO Elon Musk was among the billionaires in the Capitol Rotunda for the ceremony. Consumer advocacy groups are sounding alarms about some of the new president's quieter moves that seek to loosen regulations and, they say, benefit these elite few.
When we think about why the incoming Trump administration wants to freeze regulations and halt public protections wholesale, it is at the behest of the wealthiest among us, corporate special interests. They are who benefits when we don't have guardrails on the books.
Historians and analysts say it's not clear how many of Trump's day one actions, which his officials say number more than 100, will fly when challenged legally.
President Donald Trump on Monday pardoned nearly everyone criminally charged with participating in the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol in a show of solidarity with supporters who stormed the seat of American power in his name. The act effectively wipes away legal consequences for all but 14 of the nearly 1,590 people charged over the riot. The exceptions, members of the far-right, Proud Boys and Oath Keepers organizations, had their sentences ended early and will be released from federal prison.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon. Yes. Full pardon.
Just hours after taking office, Donald Trump issued a sweeping clemency order for those who took part in the January 6 Capitol riots in 2021. It was a highly anticipated announcement among the president's supporters, a small group even gathering outside a prison in Washington, D.C. to see some of those convicted walk free.
I love my country. I love my God. And I love these men and women in here, and I want to see them free.
They exemplify freedom. They were politically prosecuted for their beliefs. They were prosecuted by a corrupt Justice Department.
The pardons effectively wipe away legal consequences for all but 14 of the nearly 1,590 people charged over the riot, which sought to stop Congress from certifying Joe Biden's election victory. The exceptions, members of the far-right Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, had their sentences ended early. Among those pardoned is Proud Boys' former chairman, Henry Enrique Tarrio. He was ordered to serve 22 years in jail, the longest sentence of any January 6 defendant. Tarrio was convicted of crimes including seditious conspiracy for his role in planning the assault.
It comes despite Vice President J.D. Vance saying just days ago that people who committed violence should obviously not be pardoned. More than 140 police officers were injured in hours of clashes with rioters wielding flagpoles, baseball bats, hockey sticks and other makeshift weapons. One protester was shot dead by police. Democrats have condemned the clemency order. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi labelled it an outrageous insult to the justice system.
President Donald Trump on Monday announced the United States' withdrawal from the Paris Climate Accord for a second time, a defiant rejection of global efforts to combat planetary warming as catastrophic weather events intensify worldwide. The Republican leader also declared a national energy emergency to expand drilling, and the world's top oil and gas producer said he would scrape vehicle emission standards that amount to an electric vehicle mandate, and vowed to halt offshore wind farms, a frequent target of his scorn.
In a major blow to worldwide efforts to curb global warming, Donald Trump has already rolled back a series of environmental rules just hours after being sworn in. The newly inaugurated president said he would pull the US, one of the world's largest polluters, out of the Paris Climate Agreement. The accord is the world's main effort to limit global warming and fossil fuel emissions.
But I'm immediately withdrawing from the unfair, one-sided Paris Climate Accord ripoff. The United States will not sabotage our own industries while China pollutes with impunity.
Trump previously pulled the US out of the agreement during his first term, but the decision was quickly reversed by the incoming Biden administration. The decision would make the US one of only 4 countries outside the accord, including Libya, Iran and Yemen. The president also declared a national energy emergency in order to boost fossil fuel production.
We will drill, baby, drill.
Trump signed a series of executive orders which would allow for increased fossil fuel production. Such measures would allow oil drilling in the Arctic and along large areas of the US coast. But these executive orders come at a time when the US is producing record levels of oil and gas, more than any other country in the world. In addition to ramping up fossil fuel production, the president pledged to suspend offshore wind leasing pending a review, and will cancel efforts to boost ownership of electric vehicles. Research suggests that efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions were already stalling in 2024, and a second Trump term would mean it's unlikely the US will meet its targets to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 2030.
Panama reacted sharply to Trump's pledge that the United States would be taking back the Panama Canal made during his inauguration speech on Monday. The canal is and will remain Panama's President Jose Raul Mulino said in a statement published on social media.
He'd made the threats over the past weeks, and now it appears to be one of Donald Trump's top priorities.
Panama's promise to us has been broken. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
Panama's president, Jose Raul Mulino, hit back immediately, issuing a statement in which he asserted that the canal will remain under the country's control. He wasn't the only one to be up in arms about the new president's intentions. In Panama City, demonstrators burned flags as they passed by the US embassy.
We do not accept Trump's statement in any way. Neither Trump, nor the gringos, nor his army have anything in Panama.
Opened in 1914, the canal remained under US control until 1999, after which it was handed over to Panama. The 80-kilometre-long waterway connects almost 2,000 ports across the world, representing around 5% of global trade. Panama regulates toll prices, and Donald Trump is accusing its authorities of charging US ships exorbitant rates to pass through. Prices have recently increased, but that's due to droughts that have reduced the canal's capacity. and Jose Raul Molino has denied US boats are being targeted specifically. Chinese investment, however, has increased. And in response to Trump's claims, the Panama Maritime Authority announced on Monday that it has launched an audit of the Hong Kong-based operator that manages 2 ports near the canal.
US President Donald Trump reiterated his assertion on Monday that the United States needs to take control of Greenland from Denmark in the interests of international security.
Icebound and scoured by driving blizzards, Greenland is in the grip of the Arctic winter. Yet the eyes of the world are watching this remote island. The US President's son, Donald Trump Jr., recently flew into the capital, Nuuk, a charm offensive that lasted just a few hours. Speaking from the Oval Office hours after his inauguration, President Trump repeated his assertion that the US needs to take control of Greenland from Denmark.
My son and representatives went up there 2 weeks ago, and they like us. So we'll see what happens. But Greenland is necessary, not for us, it's necessary for international security.
Greenland is part of Denmark, but the island's population of 57,000 enjoys a high degree of autonomy. Greenland's government has a simple message for the world.
We are not a commodity and we are not for sale.
Trump has refused to rule out economic or military coercion to take control of Greenland. His comments alarmed European allies, but Greenland sees some common ground with Washington.
If you cut through the rhetoric, I hear 2 messages from the US. One is we need to look at the national security aspect, and we quite agree with the US message in that point. We've been trying to advocate for that as well for some years. And the other perspective is, and the other message I hear is, we want to engage more in the Greenlandic mineral sector. And that is really, kicking in an open door.
Greenland is due to hold elections by April at the latest. The government wants a simultaneous referendum on full independence from Denmark. After centuries of Danish control, the political winds of change in Greenland are growing stronger, says local journalist Arnak Nielsen.
Now it's about a lot more than the complicated relationship between Denmark and Greenland. Suddenly, Trump Jr. is here, and it all explodes. A small number of people here are really happy that Trump Jr. came to Greenland, and a small number of people really resent him coming here.
Feelings amplified by social media. YouTube influencers have also come to Greenland, handing out American dollars and baseball caps.
Make Greenland great again.
Not all welcome the attention. Greenlanders appear divided on Trump's intervention.
I
think we are in a terrible situation. Our politicians are handling this totally wrong. They've been seduced by something so much bigger than they are able to handle.
Right now, Greenland has the attention of the whole world. That is really good, and it's about time that Greenland gets some more attention.
That attention looks set to continue.
In our sports news, the Minister for Sports, Honorable Bongani Nzima, has applauded members of the public, especially football supporters, for their support towards the ongoing Ingwenyama Cup tournament. The Minister concluded by calling upon Manzini Wanderers supporters to also attend the games, even though their team is not part of the competition.
Ngiyabonga mfana Ngwenyama, kungaba kucala nje kuphakamisa sibonge kakhulu kuyiNgwenyama kuhlanganisa.
Speaking to Eswatini TV Sports, the Minister for Sports, Honorable Bongani Nzima, first applauded their majesties for introducing a competition that is bringing both football as a sport and culture together. Minister Nzima says this is the first of its kind when compared to other international countries. The minister says that it is also quite amazing and interesting to see the number of supporters who attend the competition since its inception. The minister says the supporters should keep on conducting themselves properly, especially in honor of this competition. He challenged those in charge of football sports in the country to ensure that issues of frustration within clubs and supporters is a thing of the past. The minister concluded also calling on Manzini Wanderers supporters to come to the stadiums even though their team is no more in the competition, as the football fraternity does miss them in the field of play.
Noma-ke kule tournament kodwa tibuye tobukela iNgwenyama Cup ngoba siyabonakala sikhala sabo sikhulu kakhulu. Nasibuka nje kutete mnotho sibuka nakuto tete imidlalo siyajabule nasiyibona la eManzini Wanderers sikhona.
25 minutes before 8 sithi lapho indaba tethu desibili saselikhefu sinishine simasodolo.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Hey you! Yes, you. Have you paid your TV license? Did you know that by paying for your TV license fees, you will be complying with the laws that govern television possession, in particular the Swaziland Television Authority Act of 1983 and its regulations? It is a legal obligation. Paying for your TV license can have a positive spin-off, as the money collected from TV license fees goes a long way in assisting Eswatini Television Authority procure appealing and relevant content to broadcast on the channel. So now, these fees also increase purchasing of local content from independent producers, which helps ensure that the arts and film industry in the country is well supported thus far, ensures the creation of jobs for eMaswati. The payment of TV license fees goes a really long way in such endeavors as well as nation building. A TV license costs 180 emalangeni per year per device, and for other accessories such as a decoder or njinja, it costs 50 emalangeni per device per year. By paying for your TV license, you will be doing the right thing.
Welcome back to the program, and thank you for staying with us. You're still watching Kusile Breakfast Show. This is the Wednesday edition. We did mention when we started the show that we have an exciting conversation about an exciting opportunity for the Kingdom of Eswatini's creative businesses. The Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority is spearheading once again efforts to put our local creative enterprises on the global map with the Designed Giftinary Expo 2025. in Taiwan. From gifting and stationery to wellness products, this initiative offers export-ready traders a good platform to showcase their goods to an international audience. Let's unpack what this means for Eswatini's creative industry, the application process, which is important, and how businesses can position themselves for success. Thandeka Dlamini, the manager of external trade promotion at APA, joins me this morning to answer the questions that matter. Thank you for joining us on the program, Thandeka. A very good morning to you. We are having you for the second time, I believe, in 3 months or 2 months. And it was pretty much around the very same topic, but new developments have unfolded. Let's start with the big picture, the opportunity that aligns with APA's broader goals for Eswatini's creative industry in 2025. What does that look like?
Siyabonga Mnguni, asivusele kubabukeli emakhaya. So sing APA as usho Mnguni sivulele opportunity lengaka ye designed dictionary, which will be happening in Taipei, Taiwan. Sing APA ke designed dictionary is just one of the international shows lesiyaye siwa attend because sinikwe umsebenzi wethu kokuthi si expose Eswatini products to the world, but particularly MSMEs, which means the smaller companies. So in this creative industry, Mnguni, you will notice that a lot of companies are quite small. Ukanza gogoguti, because it's the creativity that sells. Ukanza guti, they are really, really small. So we are saying gogoguti guze akule nawo, agatfole lamanye ema kasmende ngaphandle, akhone kuthengisa khona. So the opportunity lenkulu lena for the industry gogoguti ahambe aye Taiwan, some of them, to actually showcase their products kule market yase Taiwan kuze akhone ukuthola ema buyers that can then give them orders nasesibuyela kangwane. You will notice ukuthi kule business lane ye ma creative industries kunalenye element yokuthi kuvame kuba customized. So ukhanza kokuthi kune story behind le product like thengisako lona wekunene. So ngeke ukhone kokuthi ungakhona but ngeke kube sezingeni lelisetulu lokukhulumisana nalomthengi wale product unless sometimes you actually have to be there to say this is the story behind this product, this is why I make it, and therefore lo muntu bese soyakhangeka ke soyayithenga le product yakho going forward after that soya exporter ke now to Taiwan, to Asian countries, because kunema Asian countries as well.
Yeah. It wants to be some sort of a niche product because yaifuna leyo intimacy and that relationship between the creator and the consumer. I like that very much. But you're mentioning something that is very important in Zabegutsi. They have to be export ready. And this is part of, the readiness. But I do want to learn about the criteria or the characteristics that you are looking for glama applicants.
Siyabonga Mnguni. As usho sifuna ema export ready companies. However, kule industry lena ukhanza kokuthi kukhona la seba tfute nekuba export ready ngisho kanjalo. Laba interested to actually expose themselves out there and their product actually is good enough and yawa meter lama requirements ale consumer in the other country. So for such industries then, especially this creative one, it's special if you look at it because kudele ukuthi international standard labeling ngilena because ngithengisa le product uyabona. So sometimes ikhona but sometimes good. So vele sithi emaswati la khatinfo letingakhanga siyawacucutela in fact kokuthi yes kwakhiwa la kangwane criteria of course vele kufuna kube Eswatini product noma kanjani bese uba setfute nekuthi uready kokuthi unga exporter should the opportunity yekumitha le buyer angithi utawuya umithe le buyer nawubuya uyakhona lokuthi uyakhele uexport to Taiwan. So sicucutela lokuthi ucabange nima creatives kokuthi yini lengakhanga umthengi wase Taiwan ne Asia yonke jikelele. Kule designed dictionary nje kulomnyaka lophelile bekuna nearly 80,000 visitors kulo 4 days. ase-Asia lamaningi, not just Taiwan. There were a lot of others from France. There was France. France was the biggest one. And then there was the United States as well. They were the biggest ones as well. So labanye ke base-Asia, bo Singapore, bo Malaysia.
You said the total there was around what?
Nearly 80,000 visitors.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's a lot. But I'm really interested kule agreement because we do learn lo ukuthi Taiwan inayo le agreement le khona. It's called the Economic Cooperation Agreement. Let's highlight ukuthi engabe vele agreement lena isibenefita kangakanani singama local traders lapha kangwane nale value le edako.
Mnguni, le agreement inkulu in its sense because it encourage trade and investment opportunities between Eswatini na Taiwan, bohulumende bethu. So tsineke from the product perspective, le agreement ikhona kusinika i-access eTaiwan lokho ukuthi sihambise impahla tethu ngemanani singabhadali boma customs duties bayati ke bosomabhizinisi nangithi customs duties cause gani lamanye emave nakamikisa tinvo eTaiwan labanye batawu exhibita nje la siyakhona nathi siya exhibita la siyakhona nabanimikisa bona impahla tabo eTaiwan because kude that arrangement between themselves and Taiwan, their countries. Babadala ema customs duties nakungena le tinfo so le price bese seyakhula so sinale competitive advantage ukuthi lo 199 product lines uyangena eTaiwan so ungahamba uyowa-checka akhona nje ku-website yethu lo 199 products wangedeka last year January 2024 yes so ikakhulu lokwangedeka ngitodona letinvo tabo handle tema creative industries bo home decor nako konke so ungahamba uchecke noma ke usithinze ka APA khona ku website wethu kukhona naka APA singa ku provider lokho ukuthi nankhala ama products part of the creative industry ngiko siya le Taiwan because ama products alapho akhona like le agreement.
Yes. What I appreciate about what this is doing is, you know, there's normally a conversation around people from this kind of business landscape only benefit when tourists come to Eswatini, but now we are seeing the inverse where this particular product is going to the potential tourists that can come to Eswatini just from learning about this product wherever they are. But there's also a concern that has been lingering for quite some time in the capacity. You speak about 80,000 people that came to witness this dictionary. Do our people have the capacity to produce products of such a magnitude where if that market, let's be conservative and say 30% of that 80,000 is really interested in one product line, does this trader have the capacity to produce 30,000 of whatever they are producing?
Ngiko ke ka Investment Promotion Authority sinalenye i-department lesibita nge-domestic trade kupromoter i-domestic trade sipromote nalobo investment because kufuna kube nale product however njengoba usho kule capacity element si of the view yekwekuthi usengayiproducer a product and then uye out there to actually market it noma the other way around mgudlo ngayibuka ngayo ukuthi go and expose yourself. Get the market to understand because sometimes sifuna lokho ukuthi understand the market as well lokho ukuthi wo bathanza naku labamfu laba through the interactions through everything so you are able to then come back because it's as much as site maybe labaning bethu beti capacity sithi no let's expose you so that uto pick lokho ukuthi idzingani le market ema requirements ayo le consumer ikanjani and then you come back and you are able to then produce for that specific market. Of course things about the capacity become internal issues sikhuluma ngabo trade finance ukuthi ku-availwe nako konke which is part of our job nathi ka-APA lokho ukuthi sicucutele ema financial institutions ukuthi availe lama trade finance instruments awende abe suitable for traders who get orders, for instance. So if somebody gets an order from Taiwan, then you might want to look into that a bit further to say, okay, this is the order, this is, so trade-specific finance. So,
I wonder, since you're mentioning that, how is that, conversation going with the the bankers and the banks regarding the trade finance. I know that it's something that APA has a keen interest on in terms of developing and making sure with our traders vele atitfale tutimali nakatitsinga atiboleka without barriers lamanengi, because vele trade isebenta ngesikhathi. I know loyo ukuthi indzaba lenicale kuyisebenza kakhulu nakusuka umnyaka wa 2024 ungasihlebela nje ukuthi ngabe senihambe kanganani coming into an agreement that is logical, that makes sense for our traders.
Thank you so much Mnguni. Yes, sisicalile vele 2024 sayisukumela eDulu because umsebenzi wethu kulobisha ehulumende ukuthi asite ema business, and sikhulumile kakhulu nema financial institutions. Kulomnyaka lophelile nje sasinaye nangikhumbula kahle besinayo lenye financial institution ifundzisa ema business ku exporters awards last year. I think they were held in March, which of course this year are going to be held in March as well.
Right.
Ikhulumisa tindzaba tabo trade finance, a financial institution teaching businesses on trade finance and the requirements thereof. So sikhulumile ke nabo ne regulatory as well, from the regulatory side, to say can we come up with ways, because they are SME instruments as well. So can we come up with a trade finance instrument as well to help, trade finance instrument to help businesses in this area?
Yeah, I like that, because during that award session, I was lucky to be there. I also, saw that the traders and the creators got an opportunity to voice out their concerns with some of the red tapes or the barriers that exist there. And so it informed sort of, the policy framework going forward. Let's make it more malleable and agile and adaptable, so that the logistics lakhona, there seems to be a great deal of support. I'm listening to you, I'm reading on it. We are also listening to what the traders are saying. There's a great deal of support. Kunema subsidies, on-site assistance provided. Speak to me about additional steps lama applicants langa wathatha ensure noma ke ku maximize the benefits of participating in the expo.
Yes, thank you Mnguni. Yes, the cost of participating sisitwa Taiwan njengoba ngisho Taiwan External Trade Promotion Council yes iTaitra iyasita ke ukuthi si expose lama business Taiwan, because kunetindleko tsite lekufuna ti caterisho sikhuluma ngetindleko tabo njengoba usho logistics to actually get there. To actually find a place, because it's 4 days to utofihla inhloko. Sikhuluma ngetinfo letifaka ekhatsi nale exhibition stand le booth yakho ngoba kufanele nayo ibukeke nako konke, funa ube nayo kwekucala phindze futhi ibukeke. So uyasita ke Taitra kuto tonke letinfo leto. So sithi ama business la applyelako vele akathathe akalisebenzise lelithuba leli apply, so that they can be considered and take it seriously. The point ukuthi ekugcineni kwako konke uthole ema buyers bayasita sithine sithola ema buyers and start to export to Taiwan.
For businesses that are unfamiliar, I'm sure abukela lama traders la interested at our applier foods, but kune unfamiliarity lekhona, particularly with ukuthi Taiwan yona ithandza ini, because you then have to tailor whatever product that you make to meet at least at halfway, at least lokutsandva nomuntu loyo msoma lena embili. Ngini advice nongabanika yona in terms of kuti preparisha, in terms of tailoring that product to make sure they make the most in terms of offering the demands of the Taiwan market?
Siyabonga Mnguni. Siya encourage vele ukuthi traders, they should do their research about the market that they are going into, so that they can be prepared. At this point ngingasho lokuthi sing APA sita ema business kuwanika le information as we go forward, lokuthi iTaiwanese market vele yini leleyi thandzako noma lokuyikhangako yona. So we will be providing those market insights into the Taiwanese market, ukuthi Taiwan consumer ikanjani. So we will be definitely sending those. Sicela basicontacte noma keep in touch with our social media and also throughout the media kubona ukuthi yini logo. But nje do your research. Go to wherever you need to go to, like Google, find out ukuthi athandzani vele emashayina, what can you mix it with. They are creative, they know what naba mixa logo na logo. I'm not a creative myself, but yes,
Yeah.
they are encouraged. But we will be definitely sending out EMA market insights into the Taiwanese consumer.
Date is the 22nd of January today. Application deadline speaks to 5 January. That's approximately what? 13 days? 2 weeks, 13 days before the 5th of February. Speak to me about whether there will be some sort of workshops or, information sessions, so to speak, labang access to plan, laba interested going forward for yonke process le.
Okay, thanks, Mngoni. So after the deadline, 5 February, we will be able to select because we are receiving a lot of applications. Even as I speak, banning Eswatini industry lane, we're receiving a lot, and we would have to, because it's in a quarter, we need to actually select.
What's the quarter?
The quota is 9 Eswatini. So Eswatini businesses, we'll go with 9. This time around.
Yeah.
Yes. So laba selected, we will definitely early so that we can then have those sessions with them to advise them but we will have those sessions to prepare for those preparatory meetings to prepare for the show.
Thandeka, thank you so much for your time. 9 creative industry businesses in Eswatini have the potential of tapping into 80,000, market, an 80,000 market from either France, the USA, and Asia on this amazing opportunity. We hope that the 9 will qualify in a merit, and they will, obviously when they get there, bakhona ukuthi nabasoma baganwe lena nangemambala sibone ama products abo akhona lokutha export ngoba nako lokho sikhambisa embili nyalo in terms of labo export readiness. We want to be export ready. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
This is Thandeka Dlamini, Manager Export Trade at APA, just answering the important questions for 9 lucky, let me not say lucky, 9 deserving applicants for this creative industry opportunity that is going to take place in Taipei, Taiwan. Sibafisela inhlanhla kodwa ke asibahlele ukuthi make masinyane sitawubuya sivalele ihlelo.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokhu sivile sive sikhulume
Alright, Kusile mizuzu lemithathu ukuthi kubumbane insimbi esiphohlwe namhla ekseni. We've come to the end of this Wednesday's episode of Kusile Breakfast Show. Thank you for tuning in. Kanti mosonza kusivulela sikhona YouTube. You can still watch this episode ngale kalogo. Hope you'll have a lovely day lomhla.
Yeah, nako lokukhulu nje lusuku alube ngiloluhle naloluphephile. Tsikamedo emgwaqweni sitfolile lo sidinga kuphi sethembe bachube imotolo batawucaphela babe safe nama pedestrians abe safe. Asambeni ke ngemagonzo lathi ngwe siyawuthuthukisa live sithuthukise nathi. Suku libe luhle.
Oh, we love you, Lord. Come on, just speak to your Father. Oh, I love you, Lord. There's nobody like you in all the earth, Lord.